To my YouTube channel. My name is Michael Mastro. Today we're going to look at the chart for Sinead O Connor. If you look to the eastern horizon when she was born using Vedic sidereal zodiac, you would see the constellation of Scorpio rising at 11 degrees. This 11 degrees becomes very important in her chart. First, we're going to look and see how the planets are operating. Then we'll see when they're operating at different timings and events in her life. And then we'll look at what could be done to strengthen the chart. Sun is her strongest planet. It is ruling her career house and placed in the first house of life purpose. And it gives her the ability to be a lead singer. And Moon is poorly placed in the 12th house, a challenging Dustana house. And Moon affects the mind and emotions, mother, etc. And so she did, her mother was quite abusive. And she did have bipolar depression, PTSD, borderline personality disorder, and several attempts at suicide. Also 4 marriages. And she was very outspoken about women's rights and child abuse and racism. Moon has to do with the public. It is ruling her house of good fortune and her belief systems, which she was very strong about. Mars is ruling the 6th house. Any Multicona sign ruling the 6th, 8th, or the 12th becomes challenging and is called the functional malefic planet. So it can cause harm through aspect, conjunction, either in the birth chart or the transit chart. So Mars is becomes the prime health indicator. It's ruling the 6th house of health and healing. It also afflicts marriage. She was married 4 times. It's the house of divorce. And it afflicts, also she had a radical hysterectomy. This is that part of the body. Let's see here. Then we have weak infant state afflicted by Mercury. Mercury is in the 1st house. It rules the house of income. And it is any planet that's less than 5 degrees or more than 25 degrees can't protect or promote its own significations. It's said to be in infant state if it's less than 5, and if it's more than 25, it's said to be in old age. Infants and old age people cannot protect or promote their own significations. So a weak Mercury also contributes to mental issues. She's quite creative, though, very strong intellect, but very critical, self-critical, critical of a lot of injustices around the world. And quite controversial in her speech. I think on Saturday Night Live, she ripped up a picture of the Pope. She was very critical of the Catholic religion because of its abuses. Then we have a weak dispositor, exalted Jupiter. Jupiter is ruling the house of fame, wealth, and the continuation of the marriage. Again, she had 4 divorces. It is sitting in the house of 9th house of beliefs, but she had very strong beliefs. It gives her success through performing arts and good fortune through performing arts and singing. We have challenging Venus. Venus is at 29 degrees in old age, and it afflicts Mercury. It's malefic, and it is sitting in the first house. Again, afflicting Mercury. And Venus in this chart is ruling the house of depression, and she had the bipolar issue. It becomes also this 12th house is the house of addiction. She did have surgery, the radical hysterectomy. Venus would rule the reproductive parts of the body. And then we have weak old age Saturn at 29 degrees, ruling the house of happiness and family. So that weakness of Saturn contributed to her depression, also fibromyalgia, and family issues. Again, married 4 times, divorced 4 times. Then we have challenging Rahu and Ketu. They're always malefic, functional malefic in every chart. And in this chart, Rahu's sitting in the 6th house, indicating health issues. And Ketu is sitting in the 12th house, indicating the depression and mental issues. They're always balancing Rahu's material and Ketu's spiritual. Let's look at the timing of events. So in 1990, she got her first Grammy. I think I Do Not Want What I Have Not Got. I think that was the Grammy. And she also had this hit song that U2 sang, Nothing Compares. And that's all during a Jupiter period. Jupiter, wealth and fame, ruling the house of wealth and fame. In 99, she tried to commit suicide, and amongst many other times, and became a priest. This is during a moon period, moon giving a lot of spiritual attention, and also this mental issues with the suicide, 12th house endings. In 2002, she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia during a Rahu period, and there was a lot going on with Saturn. Saturn's an indicator, weak Saturn indicator for fibromyalgia, amongst any autoimmune things, which would be moon being quite weak in the chart. Then diagnosed with bipolar disorder during a Saturn period. Saturn ruling the house of happiness, so it's quite weak, and so there's that lack of happiness. In 2015, she had the hysterectomy during a moon period, moon sitting in the house of surgery. In 2016, she went through rehab, which was quite life-changing. Rahu sitting in the house of health issues, mental health issues, addictions, aspecting the 12th house of addictions. 2018, she converted to Islam. Again, quite life-changing event, Rahu. 2020, she wrote a memoir called Rememberings during a Jupiter period, again, bringing wealth and fame. And probably the most significant event in her life is 2022. Her son committed suicide during a Jupiter period. Now, Jupiter is also the indicator for children in this chart. And it is quite weak because it's dispositive. Moon is weak. And then we have, she died in July 26, 2023, during a Mercury period. Mercury, again, with the mind, mental issues. Not sure if she committed suicide, but they haven't disclosed cause of death. But the circular chart on the left is the transit The outer circle is the transit chart, where the planets were when she passed away, and the inner circle is just like the square chart on the right, indicating where the planets were at birth. So you see a lot of things in this chart. Moon is afflicting, transit moon is afflicting natal K2, uh, or K2, natal K2 is afflicting transit moon, and transit K2 is afflicting natal moon. Uh, Venus is afflicting Mercury. Remember, we're in a Mercury period. Mercury having to do with the mind, intellect. And then you also have natal Rahu afflicting Jupiter. So quite a few things going on. If and also Mars, let's see, Mars is afflicting Saturn. So Saturn again, the Saturn indicator for longevity and happiness in this chart. Mars indicator of health issues. So what could be done to strengthen the chart? Well, all the weak planets can be strengthened by my favorite remedy, a kavash. It's a silver locket containing the Devata yantras and mantras for those planets that need to be strengthened, as well as containing paramagnetic material to protect from 5G. Rahu, K2, Venus, and Mars could be transformed through charity, which she was involved in quite a bit with her, all the different charities she was involved in. If you'd like to see a kavash or buy one or get a reading or learn Vedic astrology, you can go to www.vastucreations.com. Thank you so much for listening.